Well, good afternoon, Andie and Moises. How are you today?
Good
Great. How are
afternoon.
you?
We're doing
Oh,
great. Excited to be here.
fantastic. Oh, we're glad to have you here. And by way of a formal introduction, and I'm not going to mess this up, I got this. Andie Valenzuela and Moises Oscar Hernandez Sanchez with Team
Yes.
Kuhn Realty at DMA Real Estate, Imperial, California. Did I nail it?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Perfect.
That's great. Well, the title of this podcast is very, very, um, how would you say, pertinent right now because it takes the mindset of a champion to do what you do and what I do. And so we're going to pick your brains a little bit and we're going to find out uh, what it takes to be a champion, how you are a champion, and how your mindset plays into setting you apart in your field. How's that sound?
Let's
Yes,
do it.
let's do it.
All right, that's great. Well, to get to know you a little bit better, maybe we'll start with Andie first. Tell us a little bit how you got into real estate and, kind of that information. Then, Moises, you can share your story too.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
So I started my real estate journey last year. So in 2022 was when I started studying for my real estate license. And the reason why I joined real estate is partially due to my parents and partially due to my passion of serving my community. Um, let's see. Are we
Hey,
stable?
John, can you still hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
Are are you
Oh, you
frozen or am
can
I
just go
frozen?
unstable for a second.
Yeah, you were frozen. Okay, we
Okay,
just want to make sure.
no problem.
Okay, so yeah, joined real estate partially because of my parents inspiring me. They've been doing real estate for about 7, going on 8 years now. And I kind of regret not really paying attention back in high school or getting out of high school to what they were doing. I wish I would have started a lot sooner. But yeah, growing up, I was always a little entrepreneur. I was always like trying to sell stuff, find ways to serve my community and find ways to like be creative, while also kind of being my own boss. I always knew like, I didn't want the standard, 9 to 5 job,
Hmm.
or having to clock in, things like that. So yeah, I was really like thinking of a way of how can I serve my community in a more impactful way, that really, helps people. So joining real estate was probably one of the best decisions I've made because now I can't, you know, imagine myself doing anything else. And it's very rewarding to be able to help out people in my community with such a huge, milestone in their lives.
Yeah, well, that's exciting how from a young age you were destined to do some big things and to help a lot of people, and you couldn't have picked a better field.
Yeah.
So that's great. How about you, Moises? How'd you get into real estate?
Ooh, John.
Tell us.
Oh,
He's
that's a
like, how
great.
much time do we have? No.
Spill the tea.
No, it's short. It
Yeah.
all starts like everything, a vision. So initially around COVID time, I was like everyone scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah.
And I came upon back then I was trying to think what I wanted to do with my career. So initially I was studying to be a lawyer.
Oh, how about that?
Yes, yes. I love arguments and debating and building up a case. So law used to be my passion. However, as I was scrolling through TikTok one day, I stumbled upon real estate, which is something I had never like heard. It was nowhere near like my vocabulary.
Mhm.
Um, just a little background information about myself. So I'm first generation. My family immigrated from Mexico. And so the whole conversation about real estate is not such a big conversation at home.
Right.
And when I stumbled upon this, it was people painting you this picture that real estate was the place to be. It's the job, the industry you want to be involved in. And I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do. However, at the time, I was studying. I had just finished community college, and I was starting university at UCLA. And I was like, well, I can't change careers. I'm already committed. I'm this far. So I decided to finish school first. So I finished, I studied philosophy. And then as soon as I finished, I took my classes. And I think in the span of maybe like 3 months, finished the courses. Then that's when I decided to start studying for the test. I waited months because there was no availability, like always.
Oh yeah.
And afterwards, I took the test, failed my first time.
Not uncommon. Yeah.
Not uncommon. Failed my first time. I went in all confident. I'm gonna pass this test. It's
Got
easy.
this.
No, no. And then I took it again the next week and I passed. And so shortly afterwards, I was trying to find out how I can connect into a brokerage. And the initial friend, what's curious, like it's really curious how things work. The initial friend I asked about getting into real estate, what the steps were, she's actually part of our team. Her name is Andrea. She's not here today with us, but she's the first person I reached out to. And I reached out again. I said, Andrea, I got my license. How can I get into a brokerage now? She said, how about you connect with my boss and my broker, and then we'll see if you are a right fit with the team. Met with Andy and our broker Mark, and then the rest is history. I've been here maybe 6 months. I think I'm going into it. Started around May, and just been highly motivated and driven every day.
And he just opened his third escrow, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this week. So
Mhm.
he's already killing it. So we're
Yes.
very, very proud of him.
Hey, that is such good news. And I'll tell you why it really resonates with me is because 1,000 years ago when I was in school, there was no education on real estate, lending, financial help. What does it take to be a first-time home buyer? Nothing.
Hmm.
And even today, very limited information when you go to schools, even the higher education schools. So to see both of you take a hold of this opportunity to, um, it's the greatest thing that people will ever do in their life next to, marriage and serving their God, worship, is buying a house.
Hmm.
And it's a scary process. And for you both to dive into it with smiles on your face at a young age is so inspiring. I can't even tell you how inspiring that is. Love
Yes.
it.
Thank
Love to
you.
hear that. So, you mentioned TikTok, and a separate discussion. I'll tell you something. I have a realtor partner out of Texas in San Antonio area. She just closed her 32nd deal from TikTok alone.
Wow.
Wow.
She's crushing it. And I'll give you later, I'll shoot you um, her Facebook account where she posts all that stuff. But
Yes.
it's TikTok really works if it's done right, just like any social media, right? It's incredible. Let me ask you this. So we've come through a pandemic, right? It's still floating out there in different variants and forms and whatever, but it changed the world.
Hmm.
It literally stopped the world back in 2020 and 21 and all of that. And I know that was just right before you were kind of entering in, or even maybe thinking towards real estate in there. But now that we've kind of come out of it, people, we can meet in person and all this other stuff. Um, and there's challenges financially. The world landscape is like this with the markets and everything. The interest rates are here, they're there.
Yeah,
Hmm.
People
most
are afraid.
definitely.
Yeah. So what adjustments you've started real estate fairly recent, but what adjustments or pivots have you had to make in your own business to maybe look for clients or to look for opportunities to help people?
Hmm. Yeah. I'll go first. Definitely. I've seen some pivots in my business happen, compared from the beginning of this year to the end of this year. And I even kind of saw the similar trends last year. But in the beginning of the year, home buyers are super motivated again. So, that was probably one of my busiest quarters was the beginning of the year. And that was mainly helping out a lot of first-time home buyers, mainly being on the buying side. So something I've seen as we progress through the year is, in order for me to keep that momentum going and stay successful in my business, I've started shifting kind of my focus from buyers to being more like on the listing side, especially us being newer agents. We're hungry for those listings, and we want to be listing agents in our community. But yeah, those are definitely some things that we've had to acknowledge, switching gears, whether it's making content more towards sellers, people wanting to sell their home, and, like I said, doing a lot of the door knocking, targeting those sellers. So I think that's one adjustment that I've tried to make this year is, have a balance of content for, a wider range, not just buyers, not just sellers, but, everyone and in between.
Yeah, that's wise. Smart
Mhm.
move. How about you, Moises?
You know what, John? I know I've been in the business for a short amount of time. However, every day I adapt. I learn from
Yes.
my mistakes and I improve. So
Yes.
what's the most important thing? Something that you said really stood out to me, pivoting, what direction are we going to? It's
Hmm.
always moving forward.
Yes.
And so what I like to do from my experiences is number one, I take feedback from the clients I work with.
Hmm.
I ask them how I can improve. I ask them what areas were maybe difficult for them to understand.
Hmm.
You know, it's really about targeting your audience. So I think that's the most important thing is understanding your audience.
Hmm.
Also brainstorm every week, having a game plan ready, preparing myself for success.
Hmm.
And then following that is being creative. You gotta be authentic and you gotta be yourself. And
Mm,
that's what I try to do with everything I put effort into is what resonates with me is going to resonate with others. And so being authentic and presenting myself as who I am is what's going to be attracting and really gearing me to be successful in the areas that I want to be successful, you know. Um, that's how I look at it is you learn, you analyze and you move forward.
Yes.
that is well said. A couple things jump out at me from what both of you said there is, making pivots, making adjustments every day, checking our step, learning from, you know, mistakes or things we could have done better,
Mhm.
getting feedback from our colleagues to help each other grow, right? And from our broker and those that have been in the business for quite a while, but getting, how would you say, getting input, that's the word I'm looking for, from folks who have just started in the business and what struggles they're going through. I love that as well, because it's not just the people that have been doing this for 100 years, because they need to continue to learn as well. We need to continue to learn
Yeah.
from you because you're using technology, you're using reels and content that's relevant to people, and that grabs people's attention. And, sometimes those of us that have been in the business for a while, we may either shy away from those electronic means or
Hmm.
technology because scary, but you're setting the example, you're setting the lead with that. And that's so good. Can I just ask you what feedback or what value have you found in doing your content?
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
We both might have some similar answers, but definitely, some feedback that we've gotten from our content is like Moises said, is that we're super authentic. People love to see our silly side, our funny side, not just taking ourselves so seriously. We still want to be professional, but we also want to show a little bit of our personality because we feel that will resonate with people, to be authentic. So that's something, people really love our voiceovers whenever we
Yeah,
do property tours.
those are
I've
great.
gotten a lot of great feedback on that as well. And I feel like
she's awesome.
we kind of set a trend here in our community. Um, and yeah, I mean, there's also, um, using Instagram has also been super beneficial to our business, because we kind of treat it as like a database. Everybody that follows
Yes.
us, we're following them back, or we're sending them messages. We're asking them, hey, have you been thinking of buying, selling, etc. And I've actually closed a few deals solely from Instagram from people that followed me. We've had multiple people reach out to the both of us, say, hey, I really love your content. I like how you promote yourself online. I want to work with you. I want to meet with you. So it's really rewarding to see those comments.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. How about
Mhm.
you, Moisa?
You know what, John? Very similar to Andy. I'm gonna
Yeah,
piggyback over
Yes.
and add on to different areas.
Yes.
sure.
It's free marketing. I mean,
Yes.
you really don't have to
Yeah,
pay for this. And I mean, there's ad promo that you can pay for, but at the end of the day, what's gonna make a video go viral is the video being good,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
being relatable.
Mm-hmm.
And our target audience isn't necessarily only people in our like area of like age, because you see people like my dad who is 65 years old scrolling and watching those reels as well.
yeah,
Yes.
And
yeah,
so all we need to do is really captivate the attention of the audience.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And there's so much on there, there's so much content. So we really have to find out how to stick out amongst that content. That's
Yes.
what's really important here, is really understanding how, when someone is scrolling, what's going to make them stop, what's going to grab their attention.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Andy and I specialize in. And she
Yes.
does a really great job. We each have kind of like our niche and our styles, how we like to do our videos.
Mm-hmm. But whenever we
Um,
collaborate, like those videos tend to get a lot of
Right.
likes, and people
Yeah,
would like to see us like being a duo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But I feel like for me personally, the way I've seen it really grow is us being ourselves,
Yes.
being authentic, being
Being
real.
authentic, as my shirt says.
there you
Yeah,
go.
and just staying motivated.
Yes.
That's great. And you mentioned, about standing out, and that's really part of the theme of this is, you know, the mindset of a champion, what sets you apart,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's thousands of realtors, there's
Yes,
thousands of lenders,
Mm-hmm.
but when it comes down to it, people are going to work with the people they like, trust, and they feel comfortable with.
Yes.
And
yes,
the authenticity that comes through from your social media, and then when they meet you in person, they like, oh man, I feel like I know you already, right?
Right.
yes, that does
Yes.
happen.
Yes.
Oh, that's
No,
fantastic.
yeah, and I think the mentality of a champion, I mean, as a brewer and myself, champions made.
There you go.
Um, I really do think successful people are people that know what they want, they're determined, but even more, they present themselves as who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gonna drive you to success. You have to accept your truth and share it with the world. And that's really, for me personally, my philosophy is really presenting myself as who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what the industry might be or how things might go, just always be yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, that's such good advice from both of you. And, I heard something the other day talking about technology, right? And the use of it and AI, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people are using AI the right way to benefit their business and benefit their potential
Yes.
clients. But somebody asked me the other day, hey, John, will AI put me out of business? And you know what? Somebody that I consider a mentor, in fact, he's the president and CEO of the number one lender in the country, United Wholesale Mortgage. Matt Ishbia says this all the time, and he responded to that question. He says, no, AI is not going to put you out of business. The people using AI are going to put you out of business if you don't get on the train and start using it yourself. And I
Yes.
always thought that was good because if no matter how old we are, if we're not using all the tools available and adapting and changing, using social media the way you folks are using it,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to miss the boat.
Yeah.
And people like yourselves, which we hope, we want to see greater and greater things from you and success. You're going to take all the business, and the rest of us that are sitting on the sidelines not doing anything, we're going to fade away. So I really appreciate your raw speech to us to let us know what's needed and how you relate to people. Question: are you finding younger demographic of buyers and even sellers in your area? Can you tell us a little bit about your market?
Yes. Yes. Do you want to go first?
I think for me personally, my audience hasn't, I mean, they're relatively young, but considering I would think I would be targeting people around my age. So I'm 24. So I would think maybe somewhere like in the 24s to 30s would be the audience.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I'm working with older people somewhere
Mm-hmm.
like in the 40s, 50s.
That's
Yeah.
old, man. That's no. I'm kidding.
No. But yeah, like you would think that wouldn't be my audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it all goes back for me personally is referrals, so being referred, and the door knocking has been a big lead source, and cold calling as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
I
great.
could say the same, similar, my demographic. I think with social media, it has brought me a lot of younger clients around my age. I'm also 24. So I actually have helped out a lot of like younger couples, and then we end up like creating a friendship out of it because we're so like relatable to one another, and then they'll end up referring me to their friends that are thinking of buying, and it kind of just goes forward that way. But I've worked with all demographics, age ranges, so yeah.
You know what? Something that just came back to me was since I have my audience, sometimes they have parents or uncles or grandparents, so they refer me to them.
Yeah.
That's a big
Yeah.
indicator as well of how I get my referrals is people around the same age demographic as me refer me.
Yeah.
Even though they themselves might not be looking to buy,
Mm-hmm.
they put a lot of prestige into my name because they know who I am and my reputation and my branding, and they just recommend me with people they know, which is usually like their parents or grandparents, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. You've built that confidence in them, and now they can refer other people to you, knowing, hey, you got to use Andie and Moises. These guys are fantastic. They'll take
Yeah.
great care of you. That's your best source of marketing, isn't it? When other
Yes.
Yes,
people are telling. So
yes.
that's amazing. Well, um, just briefly, let's touch on mindset. Okay, you do all these actions, you're doing all these things to be successful and stay successful and grow. How important is having a champion mindset to you?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I think the mindset is it's the foundation of your success, but the actions is really what's gonna get you there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wake up motivated, I wake up feeling like a champion every day. That's my mindset. However, there's actions I need to take in order to get to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
But the most important thing is that mindset is going to set you up for success. It's going to be the foundation, and it's really like your blueprint, kind of. So having that mindset is very important to initiate the process and to know what your end goal is going to be.
Yes.
That's
Yes. Well
awesome.
said,
Man, I'm
Moises.
telling you,
He's such a great speaker.
I know it.
Yes, definitely. I agree with Moises. I wake up and remind myself, that I am a champion. And the way that I am able to remind myself of that and really believe it is finding gratitude, and where I'm at every day, finding gratitude that I'm able to wake up healthy every day and tackle my goals and get to work and be able to serve people, definitely finding gratitude in that, which motivates me. I already have everything that I was praying for 2 years ago, before getting my license. Now I've purchased a car, I live on my own, things like that. So it's like, looking back and seeing that growth of where I was then to now, really motivates me to keep pushing forward because there's so much, untapped potential. I feel like that's in store for me. So it's like, okay, if I could do everything I said I was going to do, in a year, what else can I do, And like Moises said, it's super important to actually implement the steps, take the action, put in the time, put in the work, in order to see the results. So, wake up, remind yourself you are a champion, you are capable of doing whatever you set your mind to. And even on the days that it feels like, you're so far away from reaching that goal or you might not ever get there, find gratitude in where you are at that moment.
John, you know what?
Yes.
Andy just mentioned something very important, gratification and giving gratitude. I think when you have that mentality, when you have that mindset, it's aligned with the champion mindset. It really is a growth mindset, you know,
Mhm.
living in abundance and seeing opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
not seeing room or having room for doubt is really I think for me personally is reaffirming myself with the way I look towards my goals, my actions, my relationships, all of that. It stems back to the gratification because you can only grow from there,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely. And, I think of something that my father has instilled in me from day one is count your blessings.
Yes.
Always, and sometimes, Andy, you mentioned it too. Sometimes we don't wake up, um, you know, yeah, let's go, I mean, most of the time we do, but sometimes we pretty stressful day the day before, whatever it may be. And it's like, okay, I got this. I got to recalibrate and let's go. Let's go. But that's when I recall my dad's words, count my blessings. What have I done to help people this week? Oh, wow, I did this, I did that, I followed, I connected these. Hey, I got a blessed life. I have an amazing wife. I have a great family, and you start thinking about those things. And some of those self-limiting beliefs and those self-doubts start to dissipate now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we're ready to get out and help more people. I
Yes.
appreciate
Those
what
are
you
the
said.
most important days, John. They
Mm-hmm.
really are.
Yeah,
Yes.
'Cause that's really what's gonna differentiate between being successful and not is breaking through that barrier of fear, uh,
mhm,
failure, whatever it may be for you.
Mm-hmm.
It, you have to jump over that fence and not be afraid. But it's hard and it's not easy,
Mm-hmm.
but it's definitely possible.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I have one final question, and it has to do with, let's say, hey, I'm in my 20s. I wish
Mm-hmm.
I was in my 20s again. That'd be fun. But I'm in my 20s, and I'm considering jumping into the real estate field so I can help more people. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe you can share with um, whoever's going to be listening to this, because I think it'll inspire somebody who's of
Yes.
your demographic that's looking to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why would you recommend now is the time to take that leap of faith and jump into the real estate business? And then what would it take for them to be successful?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think now is a really great time to jump into real estate because, even though there's some like uncertainty with how the market is going and, there's some controversy on that, I think it's a good time for the younger generation to get into real estate now because a lot of people that have been in it for a long time, are starting to kind of exit the field because of how the market is changing, things like that. So somebody that's young and has the opportunity and the room to really be able to adapt and, I think that they should definitely start now. Everybody starts with zero clients, zero resources, things like that. Everybody starts from somewhere. Everyone starts from ground zero. So I think just take that leap of faith if you've been thinking of getting into real estate. And, it's really important when you do first start off to find yourself a really, really good mentor. That's also another big reason why people get out of real estate is because they don't have that mentorship. So it's super important if you're just starting, find somebody that's gonna, let you shadow them, take you on listing appointments, showings, anything and everything that you can shadow that'll give you some experience. Make sure that you're working with somebody that's willing to put in the time for you and somebody that, you trust as well. And then of course, get along with.
That's great. Great advice. Thank you. What do you say, Moises?
They say Mrs.
You know what,
Ditto.
Andy? Andy did a great job. She's always doing a great job, but yeah, she said some things in there that resonated with me, and I'll talk about them right now. But getting into real estate now, why? It's always a great time to get into real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Always, always. They say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is today. So don't wait to take action. Do it now. I will say, like all things, is give it a try, commit to it, give it your all, and if it's not for you, you'll learn throughout the process it's not for you, and you can move on.
Yeah.
But why would I get into real estate? Is I honestly I love being a realtor. I love my job. I
I
so
can
passionate
tell.
about it. I love helping families, enriching my community, building generational wealth, and helping them acquire their first time home. You know, it's the biggest investment that most people will do for their entire lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And so being part of that is very special. Knowing that you can help your next door neighbor, it's just something that is irreplaceable. It's a feeling that you, once you experience it, it's just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And like Andy said, what's gonna make you successful coming into it at the beginning is having a team. I think without my team, I wouldn't be as successful as I am right now. I honestly owe everything to my team, to my mentor, my femtors, specifically Priscilla Kuhn. She's our broker in our team, and every day, like I text her, I call her questions. We have trainings, and she's honestly guiding me through this entire process as well.
Mm-hmm.
Other teammates here in the office as well. Anytime I have questions, they're great in answering and guiding me, and I've learned so much from them.
Mm-hmm.
And without their aid, without their help, I don't think it would have been as easy. I mean, I did put in the work. I come in every day and I'm highly motivated,
Mm-hmm.
but you really need a team that's going to support you in order to
Yes.
be successful.
Yes, and I do want to add one little thing to that. It's also super important to be working and surrounding yourself with people that are doing this for the right reasons. That's something super big that our broker
Yes.
was big on before, that first conversation asking us, why do you want to do real estate? It's super important to work with people that are doing it for the right reasons. Of course, we all, need to make a living. But, we do this in our community because we really want to help people, even the people that might not be ready right at the moment to, pull the trigger and buy a home. We want to still, nurture those clients and, let them know that we're actually here to help them. We're actually here to help them with the game plan and hold them accountable to following the steps to eventually, be able to purchase a home at some point in their lives. So, we're not just doing this for the quick closings, things like that. We're looking to actually help people and, help them make such an important investment.
And now I'm remembering something Priscilla Kuhn, our broker, told me once.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the beginning, I was very nervous speaking with clients, and I'm a person that likes to be high producing in anything I do. So I want to know the formula. I want to know what are the steps to get there, and you really can't make steps to having a successful conversation with someone. It's really, you have to present yourself authentic. There's not a formula that works for everything. And one thing she told me that has stuck with me since then is she said, Moises, treat them like it's your mom, like it's your
Uh,
grandma, like
yeah.
it's your sister.
Mm-hmm.
And now every time I work with a client, I think of my mom. How would I want my mom to be treated? How would I want someone to help her?
Yeah.
And it's really helped me out because it's allowed me to be more compassionate towards them.
Yes.
It,
Compassion and empathy.
empathy, exactly. And I think that's very important to keep yourself grounded
Mm-hmm.
when working, because
It's easy to get on a high in this
yes,
industry. It's very
exactly.
easy. So yeah.
So true. And, both of you mentioned that word empathy. Empathy is the ability to, for someone else to hit their hand with a hammer and you feel their pain,
Yes.
right? So
Yeah.
we put ourselves in our mom's place. How would they feel if someone was coming to us to try to explain something that we don't understand? Well, now we need to
Mm-hmm.
take a little extra time and make, so everything you said, both of you, was just right on point. And I feel that anybody that would listen to this podcast would benefit from your words. They would be inspired from both of you. Both of you are champions. And that's
Me
exactly
too.
what the purpose of this is to pull out your mindset, pull out things that will help other people get rid of those self-limiting doubts and beliefs. You're unstoppable. There's nothing that you cannot accomplish in this business to help other people. So I can't thank you enough, Andie and Moises, for joining me today on this podcast.
Yes.
And all I can say is we'll see you at the top together.
Yes.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
do it.
Thank you, John, for
Thank you so
having
much,
us.
John. Yes. Thank
Very
you.
welcome.